Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everybody. Happy Thursday. It's your host, Alita Hernandez, Freestyle Showcase podcast, a production of Spanglish Entertainment. I'm on my own tonight. So let's see who comes give me some love tonight because I'm on my own. So thank you for coming in. Um, hi, Dinia. I can't see it. Sorry. So anyway, welcome everybody in on all the platforms on my TikTok family. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you for all the love that you give me. Thank you on Facebook and YouTube. And so tonight we have a special guest again. Right. So, oh, sorry, I'm trying to get my little doggy's in the way here. It's been a challenging couple of weeks. But we made it here. It's Thursday again. So we have Krysthal. She's a newer artist to the freestyle scene, and I'm looking forward to talking to her because she's a new generation of music, right? So I want to see her perspective on the music, right? How she feels about like the freestyle genre from back in the day, and compared to the music that's being done now. So I can't wait for that. And our dear DJ Benny B, he's also at an important meeting, so he's not able to come in, but he's left a message for us. So we have some music for you. So we're gonna have some music playing soon by DJ Benny B, dedicated to Krysthal, some music that she has there, so you can check it out. She'll be coming in about 20-30 minutes. So just hang out. We're gonna play some music in the background. And like I said, I can't wait to let me just put some music on so at least we have some music going in the background. Because I don't know about you, but I need something. All right. We got to get some freestyle music back here. So I hope you can still hear me. I hope you can hear the music. Let me know if you can hear the music. If I have to turn it up a little bit, I think we can. I think it's pretty good. So, no, that's your girl. So I can't wait to meet her. I really can't wait to meet her. I love finding like artists that maybe some people don't know about them, right? And because the industry now is not the same, right? So I grew up in the 70s, 80s. I had many opportunities back then, but didn't know. Like, when you're young and people don't teach you certain things, you just don't know. The music industry was very, very different, eccentric. It still is, okay? I deal with artists, and some of them are a little eccentric as well, right? But they're all good. I love them all out there. So thanks for coming in. Hey JDT, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Please share it out if you don't mind. Please repost if you're on TikTok or any other platform. Please do a power share and share it out. I appreciate the support. We've been doing interviews for many years now. Just people are learning about us just recently, so they don't really know our following. So I appreciate it. If you haven't seen other interviews that we've done, please go on to YouTube and look for a Spanglish Entertainment, and you can go see all the. I think we did about almost 70 episodes of Freestyle Showcase podcast. I haven't been numbering them now, but maybe I should start numbering them again. But oh yes, always we always support the artists out there. There's so much talent out there, right? So it's always great to have this to find new ones, and we're always looking for more. So I tell you right now, let me just show you right now. Also, while we wait for our special guest to come in, because I think she's practicing right now. So she's doing her vocals and everything like that. So yeah, please share, please share. Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. Prayer, everybody else who's out there, Nunez. Yes, thank you so much. Please share it out to other people. People will start coming in shortly. Also, and I'm just JDD. What happened? What did I say? What do you mean I'm just? No, what are you talking about? JDD. Come on, dude. Hey, dude. Love and freestyle, baby. Love and freestyle every day, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 in the morning on TikTok. So check it out. You want to hear some really good DJ. You want a really good DJ. He'll wake you up in the morning. Let me tell you, I'll turn on TikTok in the morning and I'll be half asleep. And hey Ray, hey Awilda. So if you want to wake up early in the morning with some great music, go to Love and Freestyle in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and he was be jamming. He's like all wide awake at 8 o'clock in the morning, like he had a pot of coffee, and he is just going there. He'll wake up. Hey Jenna, yeah. Hey everybody. Hey Rachel. Thanks for coming in. If I don't get all your names, I'm trying to say, hey Freddie. Trying to see everybody here. Um, JT, JC. I'm gonna get now confused with all the initials. So JC had to take his aunt home. So I got left back here to do some talking, right? So I've been working on the magazine. You'll see it shortly. It has been a whirlwind of challenges the last month. So, last 4 weeks. And I'm very grateful. Thank God things are moving forward. We got a lot of stuff that we had to get accomplished done. And that was really important. And as I say, you have to put your big pants on and do your adult stuff and just take care of business. So that's what we did. Thank you. Hi everybody. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. So I'm going to also tell you that even though we're streaming on 3 different platforms, we're actually streaming on another platform. And I'm going to go to that scene so you can see it here. Hope you hear the music. I hear Aina back there. Da, 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 da. So also we are streaming on Spanglish Fusion Radio. That is our new radio station under Blaze Hunter. So so let me just put the link here because I added the link. So there it is. If you want to submit your music, you can go to Blaze Hunter 9th wonder.com/Spanglish-radio. It's a little long, but just copy it there and you can go to and you'll see our page. And right there on our page, you can submit your music and there'll be streaming rotation on the radio station. So right now we are live on the radio station as well. So we're expanding location, streams. We're trying to get also into another FM radio station. So we'll let you know about that too. So we got to spread this love out here. We got to spread freestyle, right? We got to spread the love for freestyle. So we do it where we can and we share the love with all the other platforms, right? And so with JDT on Love and Freestyle on TikTok, with other places. Hey, Jesse, Cumbia. Hello. Hey, Ray. Thank you for coming in. Hey, James, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Please share it out. Even if you're on YouTube, share it out. Facebook, share it out. Share it out to all your friends, right? Krysthal will be here about 8:30, so just bear with me. I got a little set from Benny coming up really soon, so you can check that out. Reminders, we are leaving on our cruise September 13th through the 17th of this year. It's just around the corner. Wow. Okay. So now I'm getting a little like, I got a lot of things to do still. So, and if you don't know, JC and I are officially getting married on the cruise. So I can't wait. We're going to be on the beach. What a background, right? I was saying, what kind of decorations do I need? What kind of decorations could you need when you're in the Caribbean and the ocean is blue, right? What else can you need? That's your back. My backdrop is the ocean, and it's going to be like 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. So it should be beautiful. I can't wait. Thank you for the share. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. So Benny's good. He's running around. He's gonna probably try to jump in and later on, but I have a nice video from him and some music for him. We're gonna put in very soon. And so I was talking about the cruise. So I really don't think there's any cabins left. I really don't know. So if you wanted to get on the cruise, you better call soon. Like you had to call like a long time ago. We were promoting it for a long time. And from my understanding, on my group, we are completely sold out in the group that we have. And we have a nice intimate group. It's going to be so much fun. We have private events on the cruise ship as well. So we have our own group, our own room, and we're gonna have such a great time because I'm gonna have like we leave on Sunday the 13th, right? And Monday morning we arrive at Ocean Cay, which we stay there for overnight for 2 days. We'll be there, one night and 2 days, and then that Monday when we get to Ocean Cay, we in the morning about after breakfast and everything, I go rush, get changed, put my dress on, and which is a total surprise to everybody, and I have Gigi Couture making my dress. So Gigi Couture, where are you? Somebody share this to Gigi so she can come in on the show. She's probably busy sewing because she got lots of stuff to do. And but she's working on my dress. It's gonna be a special dress. It's not gonna be the traditional wedding dress because this is not my first wedding, right? And I wanted to do something different. I always feel like, lately, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but lately, the new trend right now is the customization of the rings. Like, people are not getting traditional rings, they're getting like customized rings with stones, man made stones. They're not going for the $20,000 diamond because really, $20,000 for a diamond. I like precious stones, I like gems, things like that. I like things different. So, hello, who's that? I can't see. It says it's me. Hi. Who's it's me? Hi. Lourdes. Hey. Krystal's mom is here. Hey, how you doing, Lourdes? ¿Cómo está? How are you? I saw you're on TikTok. So I appreciate the love of all places. This is great. Maybe JC will pop up later on. I even forgot to send them the link. I guess I should have sent them the link. But anyway, so the cruise is going to be amazing. I hopefully we should have a lot of videos and a lot of photographs that people will share. I will have internet, so maybe hopefully somebody can maybe somebody will stream some of it, and just it's just a ceremony and everything like that. It would be great. But and for those that are coming, my family's coming. A lot of family members are coming, so I'm so excited to just spend quality time with my family. I've been talking about this since like March. So I tell people, I said, if you didn't know about it, I don't know where you've been, right? So there's a lot of events coming up right now this month that I know of. I'm going to look up my flyers, but right now in July 25th, believe is at the Miccosukee. They will be having Charlie Rodriguez does his freestyle or his show down in Miami. So, and also we got Orlando Tampa freestyle. We got the Freestyle Explosion coming to Orlando to the Kia Center July 31st. And I'm just looking for that flyer right now because there are so many events. It's like I asked my cousin, I go, can you send me some flyers? And he went, okay. Like, okay, I didn't make that many flyers. So let me see what I got. Let me see if I can share my screen so you can see all the stuff that I got. Because I got a lot of events coming up. So while I'll go back over here while we wait for a guest, we can talk about all these other events too. Because let me see, have I share my screen? Share my screen. Okay. That's not it. Window. There it is. Share. Okay, so right now we got this event. This is coming soon. This is actually August 29th. So I have a variety of dates here, so just bear with me so we go through some of the dates here. July 31st, the new Spider-Man comes out. Oh, really? I don't know what I can do different for Spider-Man. I've seen so many Spider-Mans. I don't think I can handle it anymore. But let's see what happens. So, so anyway, we got August 29th. This is in Indiana. Indiana. We got CB, Lisa, Shannon, Cynthia, Johnny O, Lizette Melendez. Okay, there's a lot of things going on there. Why you're not going to the next file? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here we go. August 15th. This is the Freestyle Explosion that I told you about. This one is coming up, right? This Freestyle Explosion is, hey, Freddie, I just shared. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Hey, Illy Music. Hey. So yeah, you can share it on all the platforms. I appreciate it. August 15th. This one is in Frostbank Center. It doesn't say the state. Oh, sorry. San Antonio, Texas, August 15th, Freestyle Explosion. Okay, then we got August 9th in Chicago. We got Freestyle Takeover with Angel, the original cover girl, and Dream Girl Cynthia. So if you're in Chicago, you can go over there. August 9th. And guys, I want to say something. When you people do flyers, anybody does flyers, okay? Unless you're from that city, you don't know where the place is, right? So, what we have to do is have to be able to see like exactly the place, So make it easier for all of us to figure out where is the event. Just saying. Okay. This one is at the Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona, August 21st this year. Freestyle Explosion. So they're all in different cities. July, where are we? Oh, we're July 16th. July 25th. We got we got in New York. We got another Freestyle Fest 2026 at Bald Hill at the performing live on stage. TKA, Judy Torres, Shannon, Cynthia, and much more over there. So check that out as well. We got Niaja, July 25th. She is going to be Iyolo. uh, I think that's Miami. Oh, that's the Miami event. That's the Miami event, July 25th. Okay. Miami Old School Freestyle Concert. That's what that is. Hello, hello, hello. So, yeah, so you can check that out as well. And then we have Deneen, July 25th as well. She's going to be up in Duluth, Georgia. This is a Summer Freestyle Concert Bash performing live, Deneen live. Okay, so that is in Duluth, Georgia. I'm telling you, from Florida up to New York, where do you want to go? To Texas. We got tons of stuff going on. All right. There's tons of events going on. July 18th, this weekend, this Saturday, they are in. Sorry, I can't see. I'm trying to see. Where is it? It's a 323 area code. Oh, it's Alhambra, California. Hey, Cali in the house. So they were performing July 18th. We have Alicia. Okay, so that's incredible. More events coming up your way. So if you're in the area, check it out. If you're looking for a concert or something, let me know, right? Let me know. Hit me up on any of the platforms here, or you can go to our website and you can check it out. We got another one, San Jose, July 24th. Wow. We have another event, July 25th. This one's in Duluth. We got Sharon Massaran. We just interviewed her last week. What a great person. What a great vibe she has. She's going to be in Duluth, Georgia as well. And she will be there July 25th. So we got several artists going out there. Here we go, July 31st at the Kia Center in Orlando. Okay, Kia Center in Orlando, July 31st. We got Stevie B with the Freestyle Explosion. We got Lisa, TKA, the Cover Girls, Judy Torres, George Lamont, Lizette Melendez, 69 Boys, and JJ Fad. There you go. I said that quick enough? Go to Ticketmaster and you get your tickets on there. Okay, and also, if you can't go to Orlando, all right, and it's too busy, I missed. There should be another flyer. Hold on. July 25th again. Here's the old Miami Old School Freestyle with Charlie Rodriguez Productions here. We got Brenda K. Sarge, George Lamont, Niaja Coro, Pretty Poison is Erotic Exotic. We got DJ George Santana. It's gonna be another incredible. This is at the Mikasuki, I think. So that's in Miami. So check it out. Yeah, it's all the way on 177th Avenue in Miami. It's up there. It's down south. So if you're down south, a lot of people in Miami, you can go out there and see it. Thank you for sharing. Yes, definitely. I'm just gonna share a couple more flyers and then we're gonna go to Benny B. Okay, we got another event. I'm telling you, I had a lot of events. Don't ask for something if you're not ready to receive it, because you never know what you're gonna get. Okay, so this is this weekend, June 20th. This is, I'm looking. It is in Massachusetts, Saugus, Massachusetts, I believe, at the Kulu restaurant. and they have VIP tables and tickets. Freestyle Master Mix with DJ Spinelli is going to be there. You got Shannon. Oh my God. You got Angel. Uh, the cover goes featuring Angel, the original CG is going to be in the house. So, man, if you don't catch them somewhere, it's just because you don't want to, because there's freestyle everywhere, guys. We got freestyle everywhere. Okay, that one's old. Okay, Sharon Miss Sharon, that one we already did. Yes. This one, November 7th, Jennifer from Laissez Faire. She is going to be Dream Girl and Donji presents Freestyle Takeover number 3, November 7th. This is in New Jersey. Cartera, I think it is. I'm not sure. It's at the Carteretta Performing Arts Center in New Jersey. That's November 7th. Dream Girl, Donji presents. They're going to be doing that one over there. Nyaja's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of Denise coming. The Jets. All right. October. Did I tell you I had a lot of events? Bear with me. Well, we're almost done. We got a lot of events. I know you guys are all in different cities. What city you guys in? Are you, let me know in the chat. Let me know what city you're coming in so we know. Yeah, tap the screen. Tap the screen on TikTok so I can get some hearts and some likes on there for that algorithm, okay? That's a whole different story. If you're on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. All right. Check out my gallery. I don't even know what's going on. I've been really, really swamped. So we do what we can, guys. So I appreciate whoever can show up and support because okay, where's my ticker? My ticker doesn't want to work. There we go. So this is October 3rd. Now Asia is I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll find out later. I'll have them in the magazine. So this one's in Fort Worth, Texas, and this is I don't see a date. Dios mío. What happened to the dates on this stuff? And you know which one we didn't have? We didn't have the Tampa one. So what I was going to tell you, the Freestyle Explosion that's coming to Orlando is coming to Tampa the following day. So July 31st in Orlando, August 1st in Tampa. Okay? So if you're missing one place, you can go up there. It's a couple hour distance, about 3 hour difference. Thank you, Watch. Yeah, thank you. And hola, hola. Thank you for coming in. So anyway, let's get some music going on here from DJ Benny B was sending a nice little message to all you guys out there, all our fans, and of course Krysthal, honoring Krysthal. So let's check this out.
Vaya mi gente, what's going on? It's your boy DJ Benny B, and this is the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase on SpanglishEntertainment.com. Unfortunately, I'm not here today to be part of this live interview, but I did not want to miss out, so I am going to give you guys a mix of this young lady's music. So sit back and relax as we introduce to you Krysthal. This is the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase. Your boy DJ Benny B.
Got it. Krysthal is going to be at the event in New Jersey. What do you say? August, Massachusetts. I'm sorry. Krystal's going to be there too.
But
Once again, this is the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase with your boy DJ Benny B, leaving a mix for you guys. We have Krysthal tonight. This is the latest release, Don't Come Back, available on all digital platforms. All her songs are available on all digital platforms. This is Krysthal on the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase. She's gonna let you guys know about this, alright? So here we go. Hopefully, I get to see you guys again very soon. your boy DJ Benny B, the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase. Let's get into this interview so she can let you guys know what's going on, let you know the story behind this song. And this is the latest release. She just released it on Friday, I believe, last week. Don't come back. Again, I apologize for not being here live, but I'm here in spirit. I see you guys soon.
You don't know about this shit, kid!
Well, that was amazing. Was that amazing or what? Okay. If even Benny B is not physically with us, he is still with us. And that jam was really, really good. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, Krysthal, I see you're on TikTok, but as DJ DOC, I sent him the link. You have to come in through the other way, not through here. So if that's what you're trying to do. So please have him send you the link that I sent him. Okay, we're on Restream, and then you can come in. So because I saw you on there and I can't add you the way I'm going. All approved by TikTok, so nobody gets all crazy. All right. So anyway, that mix was amazing. I'm just gonna put some music in the background just because I don't like to be quiet. So I think, is the music going? I think it is. I didn't even realize it. Hopefully it wasn't going on before. But anyway, Benny's jam was amazing. Let's see. Hi Lisa, how you doing? DJ DOC. Oh, you did. Okay, there she comes. I see her. I see her now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me just turn this down because I want to give her an applause because I think all artists deserve applause and accolade because you know what? I can't sing. Right? So when I hear somebody that sings, even like my man JC, he sings, and I hear him practicing, and I'm like, how does he do that? I can't do it. I try, and then I sound like a frog, like a frog got stuck in there. I know it's practice. I know you have to practice, and it's a job. But anyway, let's bring in Krysthal. Oh, my applause. Come on. Yeah, 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 yeah. See, I can't say. There we go. Hello, hello.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I know you were at rehearsal, right?
I was doing
Or
vocal lessons.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I do
How,
vocal lessons every Thursday.
every Thursday?
Yes, every Thursday.
Okay, that's good. It's a discipline. You have to keep that up so you can get better
Yeah,
and better, right?
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
you're
I'm trying
you're
so hard.
young, so though you're still in the growing stages too. They say that when you're in the growing stages, does your voice change? Do they say that?
Yeah. Well, since I'm already 20, from like to my mid 20s, it'll like that's it, right?
Oh, okay.
It'll get thicker. Like it'll either get thicker, it might sound a little different, but it's not gonna completely change. So it might just get fuller as I grow up more.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, congratulations. So I see that you were like 14, right?
Yes, I was 14 when I started.
So how did you get started in this crazy business?
So it's a little bit of a long story. We met up with DJ Henry G at a party that he was having at his house. And the people that I signed with like a small label in Chicago. They were
Mhm.
there, but my dad was like, "Oh, you should listen to her sing. You should listen to her sing, like all this other stuff because it's my dream. I love singing." And they would always hear me sing, so they was like, "Oh, you should hear her sing." So Henry put me up there in front of everybody at the party and made me sing.
Mhm.
And they were like, "You know what? We want to sign you." And I got signed, and that's how I came out with my first song ever called All of Me. That was my first song when I was like 14. It
Wow.
was crazy. Yeah, that's how I got started. It was like, oh, okay.
Now, did you write that song?
No, okay, the person that owned the label
Right. They
wrote
have.
the song.
Okay. And then had you
Oh,
sing it?
had me sing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
I
right,
haven't
right.
released any songs that I wrote personally yet. So that will be coming soon.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes.
Well, a lot of artists, they start developing more and more once they, I guess, get comfortable in the singing and the emotion, I guess. I'm just saying because I see it. I don't sing, so, but I see, people's emotions, and it takes a lot. It takes a heart and soul to sing.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. It
People
takes
don't understand that they want to see you perform like you're a robot out there. That's a human being. They
yeah,
have to, like, it takes all this energy, right? To just the
it
breathing,
does.
right? You have to do breathing exercises and the vocals and
And the scales and the ladders, and you have to do all these. It's crazy. You have to do a lot. You have to do a lot. I
so
was just doing something before I got here. I was like, nay, 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 nay. I was like that right before.
it
It is a lot. You're right. When you said it's
is.
true, you have to do a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a physical, mental, everything. And
Yeah.
um, so I appreciate all of you out there. And so now, are your parents are they gifted? Do they sing or do anything like that in music?
They don't do anything in the music. Well, my dad does. My mom, she's like more of an at-home singer, but she's where I got the singing and stuff from.
Mm.
I got my singing and stuff from my mom.
So she was singing while you were little. She's around the house
So
doing
she
her
was
freestyle, right? She was doing her freestyle. I can just see her. She's getting a groove on in the
she does
kitchen.
Spanish music. My dad's the freestyle one.
Ah!
She likes freestyle. Don't get me wrong. She likes freestyle, but she's more into the Spanish music.
Okay.
And he's the one who's freestyle. I used to listen to freestyle with my dad all the time. So my mom was the singer. My dad was the lyricist. He was the lyricist, and
That's
that's the part
great.
that came out. He wrote it.
Oh,
That's
see,
it.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
We all we
Oh,
all musical over here. Hmm.
that's so great. See, music is so important. It's so
Yeah.
important to your life. I grew up with music, from the 70s, little girl. So from the
Mhm.
70s, 80s, I saw the progression of the music back then, the
Yeah.
disco, the funk, the Latin hip hop, the freestyle, all
Mhm.
that was going on. All it, like, it
Yeah.
was like an explosion of music going on back then. So my kids grew up with freestyle too.
Yeah. My dad, he was blasting CBB. He blasted Find Another Puppet. My class, he was blasting everything. I would be sitting in the Nissan. I'd be so small with my Happy Meal. I'd be like, singing with him.
So thanks to your parents. I know your mother Lourdes, I think, is here.
Yeah.
Your dad
Yeah.
watching too.
My dad, he's Illy Music.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hey, music.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? So yeah, thanks for coming in. So thank you, Dad, and thank you, Mom. You did a great job with this young lady here.
Oh,
So I'm guessing that you chose to do this freestyle. You
mhm.
decided to say yes to the freestyle because, like you said,
Yeah.
your father, you grew up with listening to the music, the
Yeah.
salsa, the freestyle, all that stuff going on.
I listen to everything. I had everything. I had Spanish music. I had freestyle. I had R&B. They had me listening to everything. That's all I knew I wanted to do. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. No, I'm here for you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm gonna bring in DJ Benny B because he surprise came in and we played his jam before, which was awesome. I actually needed more, so I'm happy he's here because we need some more music. Because I was
Yes,
like, yeah, I'm going.
they're
So
original.
let's bring in DJ Benny B. Let's see on my screen. There he is.
Hey, what's up, my people? Listen, I made it. I made it from the meeting early.
Oh, that's cool, cool. Yeah, we were jamming with you. It was amazing.
Hello, Krysthal. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Thank
How
you.
are you?
I am actually doing much, much better now that we finished all the stuff that we had. Just we had an HOA meeting to elect our
Mm,
board, so it was kind of rough. But I wanted to be here, so here we are. I mean, I heard. I hope you heard the mix I did for you to
I
Yeah,
introduce.
did.
Shout
yeah.
out
It
to
was
DJ.
great.
Shout out to Doc for sending me all the stuff that I needed to get that done. So I appreciate you for being here as well. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I think we might be working in the future. We almost did, but Mambo LeBron is my partner. So Mambo LeBron is my camp. This is our camp. Mambo LeBron,
Oh,
me, and Carlos LeBron. So
Mhm.
we did Chrissy Ais and all that stuff. So maybe we get something together for you as well.
oh, don't say her name because you know I love her.
Ah, that's my sis.
You know I love her.
How I look out there, I mean, I look kind of ghostly, right? I think it's too much
Yeah,
light.
like you need. No, I don't know if it's too much light or not enough light. You know how sometimes
You know what it is that I got
because
the
you were
cat.
clear when you sent me that video was
Yeah,
like
because
perfect.
the video was from my phone. This is on my laptop because I connected to
Ah,
WhatsApp on my laptop. So the video I recorded
good.
earlier for you because I thought I wasn't gonna make it in time.
Was on
But
the
of
phone.
course, the gods are really good to me, and me and Alita work well, and JC we work well together. So I'm here.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh when you see the replay because you started jamming and you went like this and I went the same time and I went, oh my god, we both went to the same gesture. Like you
We
would
sync.
think that I knew it and I didn't. It
So
was
good.
funny.
So how we doing? How we doing,
No, we just
Krysthal?
started. She just dropped in. We're talking about her singing. She was 14 when she first came out with her song and talking about the freestyle and salsa influence. Her father was jamming that freestyle at the house. So,
Yes.
there was no way she was going to get away with not liking freestyle. And then
Yes.
you got the salsa and all the other Spanish music her mom was doing. So, I'm
Yes.
guessing are you Puerto Rican? Are you Dominican? What?
Puerto Rican.
Tiene que
Puerto
ser.
Rico. Oh.
Puerto Rico.
Oh. I
Throw
got to
the
give you a
ball
compliment. I got to give you a compliment because I've been following you since you started, and I mean, you have evolved on a vocal level as well. You sound amazing.
Thank you.
I am proud. I am proud to say I am happy that you are doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That really motivates me. You guys don't know.
Cool.
That motivates me a lot.
Yeah, no, it sounds really, really good. And
Thank
I was saying in the beginning of the show and the intro was talking about we have to support artists like you. People out there have to understand that without the support of fans and
you.
people like us, the DJs are very important. So I thank
Yes,
all you DJs for the music because without the DJs, the music's not going to be spinning. And
Exactly.
I think it would be a sad world without music. I can't live without music. So
definitely would. I don't know what I do without it. It's like therapy.
yes, it is. It is therapy. It is
One hundred
therapy. Oh,
percent.
It's a way for you to escape.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we grew up with music. So Benny B and I were both the same age. We grew up in that era that music was part of the life. It wasn't like a second afterthought. It was always there. Like your parents were always playing music. Like a song
Yep.
had a meaning because it happened at a certain time in a certain place. Until now, I hear music. Oh man, I remember when I was over there with so and so, and right, you remember the exact moment for some reason.
You
So
do.
Absolutely.
so I hope that
Absolutely.
people listen to your music and start resonating like, oh, I heard that song here and I really liked it. And I think your mom was telling me you're gonna be in Duluth, right? No, you're gonna be in Massachusetts. Saugus. Saugus?
The
I'm gonna
Sawgrass
be
or Saga?
um I'm doing a show in August in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yes, it's the end of summer freestyle jam.
Okay.
Yeah, August 28th. You guys can get your tickets on Eventbrite.
All right, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I really am.
Yeah, yeah. Just make sure. Yeah, send me that flyer later. Have or
Mhm.
DJ DOC send it to me so I can
Yeah.
include it, and so people know where to go and if they're in the area.
Hmm.
So so yeah. So what kind of the music are you working on? I know this heart your first EP was Heart Collector, right? And
Yeah.
that dropped 3 years ago, January 2023.
Yes, it did.
So that was the one that kind of got you people saying, "Ooh, who's this girl
Yeah.
singing out there? I like it. I like it." Right? Right, Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was comparing to. The Heart Collector to now is such a beautiful transition and evolution to her vocal ability because she was good. Now she's just even better. You know.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's so good. It gives me goosebumps to see, you as a young woman to be in doing music. It really does because it's just special to see the music keep evolving and keep going.
Yeah.
Because oh, sorry, I missed a whole bunch of messages. Oh well, I'll see you guys later in a minute because there's too many messages.
Shout out to Ray Valdez. I see you, buddy.
Yeah, Ray's here and Jose. Oh, DJ DOC's here, and
Yeah.
he was talking to Ruben. And I see what else is going on out there. Okay, I think that's about it. Everybody hang tight.
Mm.
If you have questions for her, you can put some questions in the chat if you want to know anything. Yeah. And she's on TikTok. She's on all platforms. You can look her up on Spotify. I looked her up on Spotify. She has all her music up there as well. So, what are you working on now? What are you doing? Are you working on some surprises coming soon or what?
I mean, I can't tell you or else it wouldn't be a surprise.
But something's cooking.
There's actually a bunch of stuff is cooking right now.
Ah, un sancocho.
There you
Yes,
go.
a bunch of songs that I have that I got to get into the studio real soon to complete for you guys.
There
Mm.
you go.
I'm not gonna keep doing the take a long time to put out songs. I'm going to put out songs a
That's
lot.
Yes.
great. That's great. But so you
It's
heard it
different.
here.
It's
You
different
already know.
genres as well. So it's not just freestyle. It's like some pop, some R and
Nice.
B, and there's pop with like freestyle elements in it. So I'm branching out.
Oh, that's good. I like to hear
Don't
that.
like it though when it comes
That's
out.
good. That's good. That is
That's
good.
good. No, I like to hear that. I like the new. They said they call it the new modern freestyle community.
Yeah.
I'm looking on online, and it's funny different things they say. The new way. And they also, what they're doing now. They're making. Remember the 45s, the little records. Okay. Well, they were 45s, guys. They were always called 45s from back in the day. Now they're called 7-inch vinyls.
Ugh.
Like, seriously?
Trying to
Seven
cancel
inch
everything.
vinyl. Okay, we have 7-inch vinyls now. Okay. Like, stop it. Don't change my culture. This is what it was called.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now they're making 45s again.
45.
Besides the big LPs, the
Yeah.
33s, okay, now they're making the smaller ones. So everybody will have to buy the little plastic little chip that you have to put
Oh.
inside the 45 unless they don't do it that way. I haven't seen them. So I don't know how they look. Maybe they only come with the single hole like the regular
Mm.
LP. I don't know. But I got an LP right here waiting to play. So DJ Benny B, you got some music going?
Oh, actually, yeah, I'm gonna actually play this. This next song is from my camp. This is a remake that we did with Jesse Story out of California, and I want you guys to hear it. And Krysthal, you listen to it and tell me what you think about the production and the vocals as well. All right, here we go. This is how we do it.
You don't know about this shit, kid.
Check it out, folks. This is the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase with your boy DJ Benny B. A little hiatus on the host. Say hello to Krysthal in the building. This is a remake from our house. Hope you enjoy. I know you know the song. You probably be there like 1,000 times. You're rocking with Krysthal in the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase. Thanks to the same, bringing it to you live and correct. Shout out to my audience on the Fuse, English Fuse Radio. All my people on TikTok, power share. This platform is for you. We're gonna take it back. Here we go. Check it out, y'all.
We were not just lovers. We were not just friends, boy. The time we shared was not a simple love affair. No, we learned about each other. That you're so afraid of love, boy. There is no one that could ever love me better. No, pray to God that you'll come back to me. When we're together, there's nothing better than loving you. I wanna know why you're leaving, boy. The love we had was an open door. What happened to the dreams we shared together? No. Time again. The two of my friends say you gotta go, and I want you to know if you leave me now, I close my eyes and I just lay down and cry. Why would you leave me now? After all the things that we've been through, you say you're leaving me now. And when you're gone, what am I supposed to do? And if you wanna come back to me, I think you should know that I love you. Through it all, I felt the pain. When you hear my heart call out your name, you're the reason I still stand with your love holding my hand. Forever will our love survive. We're each other's comfort when we cry. I believe in everlasting love. Never say goodbye. And I swear, come what may, I'll never turn and walk away. I will love you till the day I die. Through every heartbeat, every goodbye. When the stars fade and the oceans dry, I'll still be yours. No need to ask why. I will love you till the day I die. Through every heartbeat, every goodbye. When the stars fade and the oceans dry, I'll still be yours. No need to ask why. 'Cause you're the reason, you're my sky. And I love you till the day I die. Life will pass, our days will change, but not the truth upon your face. In your eyes, I see my home. I know I'm never alone.
Shout out to the Dream Girl.
And I swear, come what may, I'll never turn and walk away. I will love you till the day I die. Through every heartbeat, every goodbye. When the stars fade and the oceans dry, I'll still be yours. No need to ask why. I will love you till the day I die. Through every heartbeat, every goodbye. When the stars fade and the oceans dry, I'll still be yours. No need to ask why.
Once again, it's the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase with your boy DJ Benny B in the mix. We got Krysthal in the building. I'm just warming up. I'm gonna play this one more song, then we're gonna get back to the interview and then get back to the music. Yeah. Your host, Alina Hernandez. Thanks for entertaining. This is what we do on a Thursday night.
You know my
Sparks of a memory.
My sister Chrissy Aids.
When you hear that song, that key, you remember that feeling that day you felt that way. I wouldn't change it if I could. It's how it's supposed to be. The heart will tell you to pursue it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't think twice and just remember. You tried it once before, it didn't work out. Turn around, love don't live here anymore. Stop thinking twice and just remember. You tried it once before, it didn't work out. Turn around, love don't live here anymore. I used to think I needed you to live, to breathe, to share my blues. You were my getaway, the best of me I gave to you. I still remember what it's like to lie in bed awake at night. Haunting thoughts I can't go back. I've come too far to stay.
Hi, Mommy Zonga.
And there you have it. Just a little bit of warm up right now. Oh man. And you know me, because you let me go, I keep playing all night. And we got the beautiful Krysthal in the panel right now. We got to keep this interview going. Then we get back to the music. So
Okay.
how it goes, right?
You don't know about this shit, kid.
That's your cue. Taking it back to the studio.
It goes like this.
You like that, Krysthal?
Hello,
You enjoy
hello.
that?
Yeah, I did. It was really good.
Music is great. So listening. I don't know about you, Benny, but I'm listening to these other singers like Cynthia, Chrissy Ies, some of the other ones that you played, and I don't know about you, but Crystal's voice. I mean, she's getting up
Mm-hmm.
there with these
Oh, yes.
top stars,
Yes, she is.
artists. The voice is there, girl. You're climbing up there. Don't think otherwise, okay? Hey.
Right. It's my ride or die. Krysthal is my wife,
Hey.
Doreen.
Hello.
I'm just saying that her voice, the song is really good, and that
Yeah, no,
she's getting
absolutely.
into that doesn't matter how old you are or anything like that, but you're practicing. We were just talking about that before you got here, Benny. She just came from her vocals that
Vocal
she
lessons. Yes, I
every
know.
Thursday, and I was telling people that it's not easy. This is a job. People don't understand. They think that how many times we go. I mean, it's bad enough when you go to a club and the DJ's doing his jam, like he's doing his jam, or he already has his mix ready to go, and somebody comes, can you play this song? Right?
You know what? You know how I stopped that? So requests are $20 a piece. That's how I stopped that.
Then they go, oh, never mind, Lily, because it's very hard. You can't mix. So anyway, you have to be. Sorry, puppies came in.
Oh,
Puppies. All right, Bonito. Here, you have to say hi because he interrupted. So now he has to say hi. Here we go. Where is he? Where is he? There he is.
yes, hi.
There's Bonito. Bonito, that way. That
Oh,
way.
hi,
He's gonna
baby.
eat now. He's gonna go eat now.
Oh,
So that little 7-pound dog makes a lot of noise. Hey,
you tell him
Gary.
my dog makes a lot of noise, and she's bigger now, but she was like this. Oh my goodness.
They're
She,
loud. The smaller
she
ones are
cracked up.
louder. So Gary's in the house. Hey Gary, how you doing? Yeah, we were just talking about Chrissy before. We played DJ Betty B was jamming with her music. He made a great mix out there. It was awesome.
Oh, yes.
You come back and see the replay. Mommy Zonga, how you doing? Nice to see
What
you
up, Mommy
come
Zoga? Gary,
in.
what's going
I
on?
don't know who else I miss on here. Jenna. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Carla. I'm just saying hi to people out there. Hi, everybody out there in all the social media worlds. Okay. We're out there. We're our faces on internet forever now.
Yeah, I have a, I
Oh,
have
what?
an I'm having an issue with my video just in case you guys are seeing what you're
Oh,
seeing.
it's okay. It's
I
okay. I
can
can
hear
hear
you
you.
and I can play. You don't need to leave. You don't need to see my ugly face for hear the music, so it's all good.
Yeah. So, oh, Ray says he has a Shih Tzu. Oh, is that a Shih Tzu? No, it's not a Shih Tzu. It's a Maltese. It's a Maltese. Oh, Chrissy's ready for the cruise. So I don't know if you know, but we're having our second Spanglish Party cruise in September for 4 days, and Chrissy Ais is one of our headliners for the freestyle. We have Chrissy Ais, we have the Nasty Boys. They do a great show. Um, um, oh my God, Betsaya and Nashali. I have a
Ah,
comment there.
okay.
We have some, newer artists, but they've been around now for a few years, so they've been making noise out
Yeah.
there, and which is really, really good. You probably run into them in some of the events. Now, who knows? You never know. Maybe you'll make it to Calle Ocho one day.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Their freestyle is really big in Calle Ocho now. So
Yes.
it's really amazing because there was a period of time they didn't have that. And thank God for, I think it's Wepa FM station, and also I forgot the name of the other the promoter that does it as well. Benny, if you remember, let me know. The promoter that's always down at Calle Ocho, I can't remember her name, but there's another person that's been bringing freestyle.
It's
So I know Chrissy Ayin,
Audacious
right?
too.
Yeah, I think it's Bodacious. I think it is.
I believe it's Bode. I'm not sure,
I think it
but
is.
I
I
believe
think it
so.
is Bodacious. And they had Chrissy Ais this past Calle Ocho, right? They had who else was there? I think Deneen was there, Betsaya went. Um I don't know if Nashali was there, but there was a lot of Jesse B was there. Like all the artists that have been kind of, have you seen them on social media? You follow freestyle, you'll see the ones that are starting to make noise out there, right?
Yeah.
They're making noise. They're going to Texas. They're going to New York. They're
Yeah.
going all these different states around here. We're on the East Coast, to mid. Some are going to California. So that's what we're hoping that, maybe you'll get people see you, and then they'll go, oh wow, this is a new girl, she's young, she's pretty, she's talented, let's see, and what she has, because and we can't. My other puppy, all done, puppy son dream.
Okay, it's okay.
There they go.
Oh my god.
They're the background music. they're the
I'm
back
surprised mines are being quiet right now because they.
I said they're the background vocals. Those are my background vocals.
Those are the best I heard.
So, what is it? Krysthal saw you on Freestyle Channel. My friend Danielle. I don't know. Somebody's talking to Ray's talking to somebody, I guess.
Let me
When you
see.
sang Heart Collector. That's
Oh,
what,
sorry.
yeah.
I remember what he's talking about.
Oh, okay, you do? Okay, yeah. He said, God bless you, always shine.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, so people are just putting. So I was talking about the cruise. So the cruise is our second cruise. So we have our freestyle. We have salsa meets freestyle. So we have salsa artists locally, El Bambino, Wilder Hernandez. We have JC Galong, my hubby. Well, he'll be my official hubby on the cruise because we're getting married on the cruise. We're having
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're having an official ocean wedding, and and on the day we get to Ocean Cay, we're gonna have a beautiful thing on the beach. We have plena, we have music, authentic Puerto Rican music, plena music. They're gonna have all the tambourines and all the stuff. Thank you for the congratulations. Thank you. And so yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be a beautiful day, and it's just gonna be out in the ocean. I love the beach, and I always dreamed of having a beach wedding, but
That's
never planned it. So we were gonna do we were talking about it. You want to do it? Like we were talking. Yeah, man, what the heck? Let's get married. We've been together almost 10 years, so I'm like, okay, we'll get married. So we started talking about it. So when we're doing a cruise anyway, why not just bundle it together?
that's true. That's true.
So people are coming out to see like 10 different artists, right? And the 4 days we have, private events. We have all the events on the cruise as well. There's tons of stuff. Have you been on a cruise yet?
No,
Oh,
I've
girl.
never ever been on a cruise. I would like
Mm.
but I kind of got scared after I saw that little virus thing going around. But
Um,
I always wanted to go on one, especially a freestyle.
Yeah. So
Cause how hard?
DJ Benny B is going to be on our cruise. So he's our official DJ,
Uh,
and so he'll be mixing in between the artists, and we have little a small hybrid band that's going to be there backing up some of the salsa artists, and we have bachata and merengue. So it's going to be a great cruise because it's just music and people who enjoy it, right?
yeah,
My family and friends and new friends that I'm going to be making because there's a lot of new people that I don't know.
it's true.
So, but yeah, cruise is amazing, guys. If you have never been on a cruise, you got to check it out. Of course, we're planning the third one, so you never know what's going to happen on the third one because I don't even know yet. We're still trying to see. So, now we meet all these new artists, Krysthal, all
Just,
these, all these.
just know I'm
Oh,
available.
let me continue
There
because
you go.
there's JC. He's all rough today.
I'm all rough. I know. Another week.
He wants to
Yeah.
say hi. But
Yeah.
anyway, so besides all that new music, what else do you like to do? Do you dance? Do you play instruments?
Okay, I like to dance alone in the bathroom. I don't like dancing around people. I don't like dancing around people. I get scared. I'm very self conscious about it, but I'm working on it. I gotta give me my backup dancers again.
Mm.
But I like to dance. I play a little bit of the keyboard. I
Mhm.
don't play it often, but I do play a little bit of it. Um, and
Just get
I,
scared in front of
I
people.
like playing video games, just regular
Normal
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
Do you just get nervous dancing in front of people?
but
Yeah, she's like, yeah.
So
I
what
get
happens when you're on stage?
I
You stay
know.
still?
when I'm on stage. The thing is, when I'm on stage, I still get nervous before I perform and everything. So when I'm up there, I'm like, okay, my heart could like the boom. I'm just like that. I throw little moves in, right? I get scared, like
You
doing a
don't move
lot.
too much.
Yeah, I don't like moving too much. So I'm just like, boom, boom. I'm interacting. I'm getting in people's faces with the cameras. I'm moving my body a little bit, but I'm mainly interacting.
Okay.
Then there was the one performance I did in Jersey or Lancaster. Was it in Lancaster or Jersey? One of the two
Mhm.
that I had backup dancers for. So we were dancing. I danced in like the intro, and then they were dancing mainly, but I was still doing some of the dance moves that I remembered off the top of my head. Like I was like,
Good, good.
So when I'm up there, I kind of like I'm just zoned in. Or sometimes with like the dance moves, I might be like I might blank out sometimes, but that's what I mean. I like dancing in the bathroom. Nobody watching me
Mm.
because I can move how I want.
Oh, Ray was calling me. Oh,
Yeah.
Ray, I'm a Alida, not Awilda. I was like, who the heck is Awilda?
I will. I'll leave that.
Alida, Alida. It's okay. It's no problem. When I saw Awilda and JC, I go, who's Awilda? Oh, but that's cool. That's cool. I know some of us. It's hard. Like you try to watch something on TV and you try to dance to it. And when I was young, Fame was the thing. Fame was the movie, the series on TV.
Oh yeah.
We were all like Fame everywhere we dance, and I lived in New York. I grew up in New York City, so Fame was down the street. It was recorded. The school. I was like, I want to go. And then I would start dancing. I'm like, why am I like stiff or I can't? I was like, I couldn't coordinate the hands, the feet, the head. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know how
I.
they do it. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, that has a talent. I mean, it's just a
They,
skill that you have to learn, like everything else. Like you're learning to
yeah.
sing better and better. So
They
it has
sing,
to
they dance, they act. Oh Lord.
be.
Shy are we, huh?
A
So
lot.
okay, so the dancing's at home, a little bit of keyboard there and there, and some gaming. So you going to school as well?
I'm actually right now I'm saving up to go to nail school because I wanna do like acrylics and stuff like that. And it's a decent amount of money, so I'm saving up right now for that. But
Oh,
I'm practicing at home. So like I have like my whole little nail station already,
mm-hmm.
like in the dining room kind of on the
Yeah.
side.
Hey,
And
that's how we start, right?
I have all the acrylics. I've been doing so many nail sets these past 2 days because I'm trying to get better.
Hey,
Because I'm
that's
at
good.
least going knowing something. So that's
That's
what
good.
I really want to go to school for.
Then you practice with your friends. Come over, I'll do your nails. They're like, okay. And
I
then
practice
like,
with my mom
oh,
because I don't
what
really
you
have
doing,
friends.
mom?
So I don't really have friends, especially female friends. I don't really have female friends. The only friends I really have are my cousins. So I be telling them like, let me do your nails.
Yeah, let me do your, yeah, exactly. I'll give you a pedicure,
Yeah.
manicure, whatever you want.
I told them I said, whatever you want to do, just let me practice on you. I can't guarantee they're gonna be perfect, but they're like,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
had a
I'm
I had a friend when I was about, I don't know, I was like, say I was 12 and she was like 16, and I looked up to her like a big sister, right? So she went to cosmetic school, cosmetology, and she was doing hair. So let me practice it. I'm like, okay, no problem. She cut my hair, whatever. My mother be like, what happened? Oh no, I let her cut my hair. Like I was all happy, like and it looked like crap, you know.
oh,
But I was being a good friend, I'm like, it's okay, I'll grow back.
that is a good friend.
Uh, okay, Doc says DJ DOC says Krysthal can dance. She had backup dancers for the New York, Pennsylvania Latin Festival, and she did really good. See?
I said I danced in the intro, doc. I didn't say I didn't dance.
Okay.
I said I danced in the intro. Then my backup dancers did the rest, and I would go in when I would remember what part we at. I'm like,
Yeah,
1 2 1 2. That's
yeah,
not
yeah. Ray remembers the Fame. Fame was the bomb. I'm telling you. Hey, you
yeah.
know what? Who I interviewed from Fame was Michael Del Lorenzo. Remember
Oh,
Michael De Lorenzo? He was also in Bad and Beat It with Michael Jackson. He was a dancer.
oh, really?
And he's from New York. He's Puerto Rican Italian. He did New York Undercover. He did Resurrection Boulevard back in the 90s. He's an actor, and yeah, I got to interview him a couple of months ago, and they had a 25th anniversary of Resurrection Boulevard. So, so talking about Fame, because he was in Fame, and you don't
Um,
realize some of these actors from back then, they were in the movies. Like he was in a lot of Michael Jackson's videos, to Beat It and the Thriller. He did Thriller as well.
oh, damn.
Yeah, Michael was in. He was in the front dancing. He was a great dancer. He danced ballet too, and he's still doing music now. He's doing music. But
Okay.
yeah, there's so much music. I don't know if you saw before. I told everybody before you came in. I was showing flyers, and I went on my drive, and I started clicking on the flyers. I go, hold on. I kept clicking and clicking. I go, wait, there's more events coming up: August, November, October. I mean, like all over the place.
Yeah.
Like from here to Texas to Massachusetts to California. So
Yeah.
I tell people, if you miss a city or a state, see what's closer to you. There's something coming to you,
Yeah.
because right
Mhm.
now just those is about 20 events, and I think I already know about another 20 events coming up.
Oh,
And yeah, and Benny, when's your event? Is it this weekend or next weekend?
No, no, my event is gonna be August
August.
9th.
August.
August
I think
9th. Yeah, it's
August
my
9th.
birthday weekend.
Yeah.
That
Hey,
event is
birthday
for
weekend.
yeah, that event is for the Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital here in Florida. We're collecting a toy for a boy and a girl, and we're also giving out backpacks for school and stuff like that. So it's a charity event that we're raising for the kids up there. So we do that. Well, 729 Entertainment actually had asked me to come on and be part of this, and I am honored to do it. So anytime I could give back, I give back. So that's the way it
that's
goes.
Yeah, so we'll be
Yeah.
there. Spanglish Entertainment will come in and see what's going on, help out with that, try to promote that, for
Crystal,
August
start
9th.
walking now. You can get here. You can come and hang out with us.
Where are you, Where are you, Crystal?
I'm in Philadelphia.
She's in
Oh,
Philly.
okay. She's in
PA.
Yeah.
Philly. She's in Philly.
She's in Philly.
215 Philly.
It's how I've never been to Philly. Can you believe that?
Really?
What?
No, I went from New York to LA to Miami.
Mm.
Okay.
I did a RuPaul party in Philly. It was great.
A RuPaul park. Oh my
Yeah, we
God.
DJ for RuPaul. He had an event out in Philadelphia. It was
He's
awesome.
a trip. He's a
Oh
Oh.
yeah.
trip.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
Crystal,
Ray.
do you
Yeah.
write? Do you write songs as well? Or
Yes, I've been
And
trying to write more
good.
music myself. So I do have one song that I wrote, but I haven't put it out yet. So like I have to
Okay.
go in the studio and make the beats and do all that stuff still. So hopefully I'll release it.
So right now you got the concept. That's the most important part. You got the concept and the
Yeah.
melody. Then everything when you get into the studio, you can get it done. Good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
See, you
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
a triple threat, Alita.
I
She plays the
know.
keyboard a little bit. She dances a little bit, and she
Yeah,
writes a little bit. There you go.
yeah,
The bathroom.
yeah. That's right. Philly is definitely not the city of brotherly love. DJ DOC says.
Uh,
He goes LOL. He goes LOL.
Yeah. Don't get me started about New York, Doc.
Oh my,
no
yeah,
back and
please.
forth. Don't
New
be New
York is
York
not
and
New
me.
York.
Everything's expensive.
Every city got its thing. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
That's true.
Um,
Everywhere has its own set of issues.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
The main thing though, the cheesesteaks are still good, or what? Or
the
they
Philly
slept on
cheese.
that too.
I feel like they're still good. They're still good.
Oh,
I say
okay.
they're still good.
Okay. All right. But you're a little biased, but I get you.
Don't
We have
don't
to
put my
go
word
there
for
to
it.
have a real one because I don't know, not down here. Mm-mm.
Nah, not down here, but
Even though
definitely
we have
Philly.
transplants, we're in Florida, so everybody lives in Florida. Right
Yeah.
now, we have little New York, we have little Puerto Rico. What
Mhm.
else we got? We got little Haiti, we have little Jamaica. We have every culture over here. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a Greek
Absolutely.
fest, you know.
Yeah, I go to Florida sometimes for my sister because she lives there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, hey, Benny, Gary's messing with you. He said, "Don't bring that Yankee cap on the cruise, bro. It might come up missing."
Yo,
Yo,
love you,
Gary,
Gary.
watch out with that Boston now, because
I love you, Gary, but Boston is sweeping the
especially the
basement right now.
Bruins,
So
especially the Bruins. Mm.
Boston is sweeping the basement right now. So don't worry about it. It's good.
Oh
You see, this is
no.
how we do on this platform. We have fun, Krysthal. This platform is all
Yeah,
about you
I can
guys.
see. I know.
Yeah.
that's the spot. What does it say?
So we
That's the
have
spot the
fun, you
hood that
know.
goes about. When I go
That's
there, I
all
always
I'm
stop by
saying.
there. Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yes,
Share
she
it. We share with
always
the
goes.
world. Yeah, we share with the world all those that are not in the background that don't get that much up front. You know what I'm saying? So we showcase everybody, and this is like Alita said, and JC always says, is the legends, the newcomers, the ones
Yeah.
that been here before, even the ones that are just thinking about trying and got something and want to try. You know, I'm a I'm a one hit wonder production too. So here we go. Oh, Gary, come on now.
I ain't scared. Gary's like, I wore my Boston gear on stage at MSG. I ain't scared. Skirt. Ay, Dios mío.
Oh my God.
Ah.
Yo, I'm gonna oh no, put something in his luggage and get stuck in the Caribbean.
Oh no. Thank God, see we're good sports about it, you
Yeah,
know.
but shout out to first class
Hey
entertainment,
Junior, how
man.
you
They're
doing?
good, man. Gary's the
Hello,
man.
Junior. Yeah, we've had a crowd back and forth. I'm trying to read everybody on TikTok and all the other platforms. So
Anybody got a question for Krystal? No questions for her?
yeah, everybody's just interacting. Everybody's been saying they like her music, they like her
Yes.
voice, you
That's
know.
good.
So everybody to the world, this is Krystal.
So this is my
About the
advice to
music.
everybody. Everybody like your music. I want everybody to download her music. Get on all the platforms. You can get her all the platforms. Support this young lady because she's doing great things. She's gonna be coming out with some good stuff. I know DOC. We're gonna be talking soon. So we're gonna
Mhm.
have we gotta cherish the ones that we coming up right now. We gotta
Oh,
lift them
okay.
up as well because we're getting up there in age, man. We gotta make sure we pass a torch to somebody that can. We
Yeah,
want quality over
still dance.
quantity. So let's do this right. You know what I'm saying?
Ay, Dios mío. Okay, JC has a question.
Did they name her Krystal after the champagne?
Did they name you Crystal after the champagne?
No,
Oh, just just curious.
no.
It's spelled differently.
It's
Crystal. It's not the same.
it's because my middle name is Crystal. So my parents and me, we sat down and we really thought about what we wanted my name to be, and like they came up with like they were playing with Crystal, and then they put a K like that, and then there was like, how about Krystal?
Mhm.
So we did Krystal,
And you
and
spell
that's
it
how
different
we
too.
came about it. Yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
Krysthal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Play on.
So Gary's with First Class Entertainment, and he is Christy's manager. Christy is his manager. He said he will definitely follow you. Best of luck in your musical journey, Queen.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's
So
Gary. Gary's the man. He's man.
yeah,
He's awesome.
and
Yeah.
Gary's already asking, so we gotta talk, guys, because he's already saying how soon we will tickets go on sale for the next year for the cruise. People
Hmm.
gonna book now.
Yeah, I
I
think
said,
I
well,
believe we sold out, right? I believe we sold out.
our group, yeah,
Our
our
group
group
sold
is
out.
done. Yeah, our group, and I'm still waiting for a final count, but we got a good, nice little group together, and it's gonna grow and grow. And
Who knows, Krysthal? Hey, you say you available. Who knows?
Hey, what's up, Gary?
yeah.
Hey, me and
When you
Gary,
both
Gary,
coming?
we got some unfinished business, Gary. I want to call you this week, bro.
I already sent him a message. He knows what's going on. So we got more things cooking and moving and shaking around town. So yeah, you never know. You never know. Who's and I tell people you never know who you're gonna see on our events that we do, because again, we like bringing people like Krysthal and bringing people out there that haven't been seen yet, but they really have a presence and they have a voice, and they inspire people. Like their music will get you moving, and that's what it's all about. Is that connection? Is that connection with the artists and and the people there? Does the
Yeah.
music connect to the people? So, and that's what a lot of these artists do. Like Chrissy Ice, she's wonderful. Besides that, she's a beautiful woman. She's beautiful inside and out. That's why she radiates, right?
Mhm.
So when a person has that radiating beauty from inside, it comes out even more out. So her voice is incredible. So with everything, it carries and it shows, and that's why people love her, because they feel that love. That just genuine love that she gives to people. And she really puts her heart and soul when she sings. Because I've seen her sing, and
Oh
I
yeah.
was I was ready to cry because I saw her, right? Like she sang like deep down. It was
Hmm.
We were talking about Chrissy, quick. We were talking about Chrissy about she would be like the perfect person to portray a Taina India woman
yeah.
if they were ever to need one,
A
because she
movie.
has jet black
Right?
hair. She has that jet black
Just
hair, that
and shots.
skin.
Yeah,
I
she
mean, she
does.
has those features like one of those Taina
Yeah.
queens.
That's what you need to be for
Yeah.
Halloween, okay?
Oh yeah,
you don't
Absolutely.
need you don't need much, just a little bit of makeup and a little outfit, y ya
she's a
está.
Yeah.
natural.
Ya está. Okay? You
And I
wear
got the honor. I got the honor to work with her in the studio. It's oh my god, her worth ethic is ridiculous, And I got to shout out to her. I mean, Krysthal. I mean, you said earlier that she's probably one of your favorites that you would,
oh, there's Chrissy. She's here.
And
Hi,
yeah,
Chrissy.
hey Chrissy, here you go.
She's saying
And
hi. She
yeah,
came in to say hello on Facebook. Thank
yeah,
you. We're
Chrissy, you're
talking
an
about you.
inspiration to this young lady that we have on the panel right now.
Yeah.
Krysthal is one of your biggest fans, and she's actually doing her thing, man. She's doing her vocal lessons and all that stuff, and she is actually evolving to be a powerhouse singer. So
That's
my
right.
hats is
That's
off to
right. So
you,
she's
Krysthal.
a new generation. She's 20 years old. So, this is when we have to patch the
She says her
torch.
ears were ringing.
Who? Oh,
Chrissy says
Chrissy.
her ears were ringing.
Nah.
Yeah.
She says hi, Crystal. She says hi to you,
Hello.
Chrissy. So yeah. So, we were talking about your vocals and your singing, and Crystal really likes you, Christy. And
Inspiration.
there's an inspiration. That's how it is. So passing the torch to the young ones. So I hope, Christy, you get to meet her soon and get to talk. And it's a great connection and in the freestyle world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what
Yeah.
we do, trying to connect people here and, promoters, managers, everything like that, because you never know. Somebody will find, how they have that discovery. We used to have, what was it called? Star Search. Remember Star Search?
Star Search. Yeah.
For us old timers, everybody remembers Star Search. There used to be a
Hmm.
show on television, on regular TV, not cable. We didn't have cable back then. That's how long ago it was. It was on Channel 7 or something.
Mhm.
And anyway, so they used to put the show and people would come sing and everything. That would have a Star Search. And then they had another show with the gong. Remember, if you weren't good, they would gong you
The
out.
Gong Show. Yeah.
The gong show.
Krystal's like, what the hell is that?
I know, but Star Search was great because you would come, all these artists would come, and then all of a sudden you would hear these vocals. Like, where did
Yeah.
they come from, right?
Yeah.
and that was
Yes.
the first time that we were seeing that.
Mhm.
That was our internet, you know.
Yeah,
Ed
absolutely.
McMahon, look, Gary knows. He goes, "Damn, I'm old." I go, "I know, Gary, me too." Star
Oh,
Search starring Ed McMahon.
yeah. Krysthal, you with a bunch of old people here. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. We're
Don't say that. You guys are still youthful. Don't say that.
we love those
Now,
shows.
actually, we seasoned, right? Alita, we
We're
seasoned.
we're like wine. We just get better with age.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Music keeps me young.
Mm. So what did Gary say? Gary said here, Team Krysthal, have your team support Spanglish Entertainment because they will pay it back.
Yeah, she's one of our biggest supporters. Doc DOC,
Yeah.
man, where you at, DOC? You did good here, man. So thank you again. Don't forget, you got my email. Make sure you get me everything she's got
Oh
so I can
yeah.
put it
Oh
up
yeah.
there.
Who else is on here that I can't see? DJ Punch, yeah, a whole bunch of other people on still on TikTok. Thank you for following us. Thank you for all the likes and the hearts. Thank you so much.
And
People on YouTube and on Facebook, don't worry about me. TikTok has another lingo, okay? So just
yeah,
ignore my little.
shout out to the Spanglish Fusion Radio audience out there as
Oh
well. They
yes,
got them.
definitely. Look. Let me see if we can all get in here. Okay, wait. I gotta put everybody.
There you
Hold on.
go. Hey.
I don't know where I went, but anyway, Spanglish Fusion Radio. Let me go back here. Hey, I'm playing around with my little things here. I have the ticker. So here it is. If you want to submit your music, you can go to this long thing here. We're gonna make it shorter. blazehunter wonder.com /Spanglish dash radio. That's Spanglish Fusion Radio that we are streaming live right now through their platform. And so you can submit music there, go into rotation automatically, and I'll be continue playing. So you can go there. I'll send you guys the link, and you can just put all your links up there, and you get and
Especially,
yeah, and they have he has some kind of royalties like a media base,
yeah, it's media
radio
based. You
station
get
that
paid. Yeah.
yeah,
Publishing.
right.
Shout out to
So
Blaze Hunter.
so Blaze Hunter is running that, and he has his own shows as well. But this is our channel that we're trying to build here on his network, and also a shout out to Splash F 98.5 FM, also an FM radio station, media based radio station that we would like to work with, and we're working with them. So we'll continue radio. They're on live FM radio in New Jersey,
That's
so
cool.
and hopefully coming to Florida soon.
Yeah. Can I do? Can I check? Can I get a quick, just a quick thing here? I wanted to know if anybody had an update on Flash Edwin Cartagena. He was going
Oh
in for surgery, so we're going to wish him well in his recovery. He had open heart surgery. I'm not sure. Haven't heard anything about it, so hopefully he's doing well. So I just wanted to get that in there as well, since we're on live right now.
yeah, does anybody know? Anybody have any words on DJ Flash? I just saw that yesterday. I'm like, what happened? So he was having open heart, I think.
Yeah, and he's the featured DJ in our event.
Excellent.
So
I know.
yeah, we're gonna find out.
JC's going to see if he can reach him and just to see how he's doing and tell him that
Perfect. That'll be
we
great, man.
support him and that much
Sending
love
us
from
healing
all of
prayers
us.
for him. Healing prayers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, praying. Yeah, Gary said praying for him. Yes, pray for him. He's not the first one that we hear about having these open heart surgeries, guys. Not
Yep.
for anything. I mean, you're a young girl, so you can learn about these things. But as we get older, when we're young, we don't realize how we're taking care of our bodies and what we're eating and we're doing stuff. And we really weren't taught about it. We're the generation that, like they say, we drank the water from the hose in New York City. We didn't care about chemicals. We ate dirt. Like we were out. Okay. Oh, okay. Gary said Betsy was the one posted that he was having tests before surgery. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know. I just JC's gonna find out in it. We'll find out, and if we don't hear before we leave, we'll put a post about it.
Thank you, guys.
But yeah. So everybody just pray for him. Oh, Gary was saying that Aaliyah she started on Star Search. Aaliyah, the one who died.
Um,
Aaliyah, the artist who died a long time ago. Unfortunately, she died
Yeah.
young. But
yeah.
she was found on Star Search. So back then, that was like a big deal, because that's what they used to do, the talk shows and all that other stuff.
So we got to
Yeah.
get Krysthal on a talk show. We got to set up a talk show and just have her come in, right? Like she's doing. Matter of fact, she's doing it now.
You're so silly. Hey, put some music on back there because we're gonna couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 10 minutes of music or whatever, and then we'll
All right,
head
we're
out.
gonna get back.
Hey,
That's what's up.
Jose. Yeah, unless anything else you want to tell us, Crystal.
I actually have some people to thank and mention
Go
if I
ahead.
can do that really
Oh,
quick.
sure. Go right ahead.
Absolutely.
I would like to thank Gennaro and CPR and Odalis who wrote Don't Come Back.
Nice.
And would just like to thank those three for entrusting me with this song and allowing me to help with their vision of it. And I would like to thank the Teamsters Local 929 for sponsoring the project as well. So I'd like to say a thank you to them. And just a thank you to you guys as well for having me here. I really appreciate it. You guys are like, really sweet and really funny. And this has been, like one of the best interviews I've ever had. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm happy you had a good time. We just try to make it real and just chat, and we just talking
Yeah.
like friends, and people get to know you, so they see a little side of you, and then they can look out for her music. Follow
Yeah.
her on Spotify and all social
All right.
media.
Yes,
Absolutely.
all streaming platforms and on social media. You can find me at I'm Krysthal. I would also like to do a little quick shout out to Edwin Ramos as well because
Oh,
he mixed and mastered Don't
the
Come Back.
legend.
Mhm.
The
So
legend.
yes, I would like to say thank you to everybody, basically.
Hey, so why don't we let them hear it again? I know I played it in
Okay.
the beginning, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
let them
Play
hear it
some
Yes.
music.
again.
Yes,
This
please.
is
Let's
"Don't Come
go.
Back." This is actually an unreleased version of it. DJ Papa, "Don't Come Back" extended remix. Here we go.
Everlasting moment burn like a fever. You used to love, but you were a deceiver. You broke me down. Now I'm staring at the ashes of what was true. It was all for you. Don't come back. Don't come back.
Love the edits. All right. That was Krysthal's Reggae Don't Come Back. Released last Friday as the DJ Papa remix that's not available yet. But definitely get that on all digital platforms. Make sure you show us some love. Pick it up, yo. I'm going to continue the music just a little bit here. Keep it going. Stay with us. Have some fun on the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase. Your boy DJ Benny B.
You know about this shit, kid.
And that's how we do.
You get Krysthal vinyl at elasticStage.com/Krysthal. I put the sticker on the bottom there so you can get the vinyl. So check it out.
You keep assuming like I'm out here choosing, like I'm just playing, like my heart ain't bruising. I gave you truth, but you still pick and choose it. You think I'm faking, but I'm really losing. You keep assuming, but it's not that deep. You hear the rumors, but you don't trust me. I ain't them dudes that you used to see. I'm right here while you run from me. Girl, stop assuming that I can never love you, girl. We got to do it. I want to show you to the world.
That's Jesse B. Yep. Another one that's going up and up.
Cause it's always laid back. You give me everything, and I always give back. You keep on thinking that I'm out here creeping, but don't assume, babe, that I'm changing.
Zach is having his own conversation in the chat.
But it's not that deep. You hear the rumors, but you don't trust me. I ain't them dudes that you used to see.
Alex Spicy in the house.
I hear why you run from me. Girl, stop assuming that I can never love you, girl. We got to do it.
Hey, Manny. Manny, you're here too. Manny Martinez in the house, another artist. Thank you, Manny. Thank you. Hey, Lisa. We'll go for a few more minutes and then we'll end the show. Enjoy the music, guys, from DJ Benny B.
You're in the middle of the Beehive with your favorite DJ Benny B.
It's the Thursday Night Freestyle Showcase, and we're doing it up right. Here we go. Krysthal in the building. Don't forget, every Thursday night at 8 p.m., we here, live and correct. Take me home, Julianne.
We're going to have a new desk, hopefully next Thursday, the 23rd, and we're waiting for confirmation, so I'll let you know.
I hope you'll come back to me.
there you have it. Just a quick mix for you guys to keep you going. This is what I do. Like I said, you leave me alone, I'll be here for the next 15 hours. I won't
Yeah,
stop.
he already warmed up, so now it's like
Oh yeah,
we
you
got.
don't understand. Yeah, me curé, me curé.
Okay, that's cool. I'm happy you made it today. We had a great time today. Thank you, Krysthal, for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys. And thanks
Mhm.
for all the nice things you guys said about me. It really motivates me a lot and I really appreciate it so
You're
much.
welcome. It's
Yeah,
well
absolutely.
deserved. It's well deserved. And keep on going. Keep on, pushing forward. Don't let anybody stop your dreams, and just keep singing.
I definitely will. Don't
Absolutely.
worry. I told you I got that sancocho cooking for you. Don't worry.
Woo! Guys, thank you. Bye. Great show, Benny. Great show. Great artist. It's great to see the youth. She's 20 years old. I mean, she's it. She's the next generation. So you froze up. I don't know what happened, Benny. Benny froze up. Up, up. What? There he is. He's glitching. Max Headroom again. He's
Yeah,
glitching.
You don't know about this shit, kid.
Exactly.
I'm
Half
having
the
a
people
pro.
don't even know what Max Headroom is.
Yep.
Yo,
She didn't know.
the freaking WhatsApp is on Restream is updating at the same time. That's what's happening. It's like
Like
I
who
can't
told
catch
it
a
to
break.
update this? I know.
Can't catch a break. It's ridiculous.
So thank you everybody here, everybody being here. Oh, I missed some stuff. I'm sorry guys. It's hard to see all of these. Although we're talking to Juala. Who is this? Alita, who's having you next? Oh, next Thursday. Okay. I should have confirmation, but we have a special, incredible guest. It'll be an honor. David Ruffin from
Oh
the
wow.
Temptations.
Wow.
Okay. He is coming
So
into
Benny, get that mix
Freestyle
ready,
Showcase
baby.
podcast. Benny, I'll let you know about that. He's working on a new project. He has some new artists under his label under Velvet. I'll remember the right name. I don't have it right now. I'm sorry. I apologize. I get all the information right on the flyer for the music company record label that he has. He has some new
Mhm.
artists, some great music. He has one that's a Spanglish song, and another one. Yeah, yeah. No, he's not.
What?
No, he's not.
Gary,
Right?
Gary, you messed up, bro.
Son. Then
The
it's his
son.
son,
It's the
Junior.
son.
Yeah, yeah, David.
They were Ruffin Junior.
He's-
Now I see dead people. Okay.
Junior,
oh my god.
Junior. Excuse me.
Junior is bringing everything back from the dad for the dad.
Yeah. So he has. Yeah. So
Let's clear that up. Yeah, it's Junior.
so sorry. That's so sorry.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, because when we were talking to him earlier, he looked too young. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait a
I
minute,
know.
that is the son.
But he looks just like him
He
too.
does. He
He
does.
looks just like him. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Well,
we did. We did.
Junior, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Junior.
Gary's fact checking us over
No
here.
sabe. Mira,
Hey, Gary knows his stuff,
voy a
man.
tirar
He
la
knows.
Absolutely.
chancleta, Gary. You know what that chancleta is,
Oh,
Gary?
Gary, don't make him say that's the Puerto Rican
La
boomerang.
chancleta.
That's the Puerto Rican boomerang, bro.
So anyway, David Ruffin Jr. and his new project, and it's going to be amazing. So once I will put out the flyer for that. We also have some. I have to get some more artists already. It's been tickety tackety, and so many artists
Yeah,
have come
and
through.
Gary's right. We
So,
already we already we gotta
Max-
plan the next cruise already.
Manny was laughing when I said Max Headroom. He goes, back in the 80s, Alita. Yeah, I know, right? I remember. Kidding? He was on MTV, wasn't he on MTV?
Yeah.
He was on
And the
MTV.
commercial, with the 7-Up,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. So that was MTV. MTV just ended last year. MTV closed out last year. So it was a generation. We were the MTV generation. I remember when it
Absolutely.
started, and we were here when it ended. So
Oh yeah.
that's crazy. Isn't that crazy?
Showtime at the Apollo.
Gary, we are
all
old.
that stuff. Listen, we had the best time. I think we had the best generation. Period. I mean, everything came out in those days. You know, the Apollo, everything, Star Search.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what
we
you're talking about.
you
Yeah.
know, I know you were talking about that, but that's what it is.
Dan Steve, remember Dan
Dan
Stever?
Stever, Danny.
Hey, I got to see Denny Terrio just a couple of years ago.
Yes,
He
Boca.
was in Boca.
Boca.
And
Angel was there.
Angel King.
Super Hill Gang, Evelyn Champagne King.
Yeah. All the Frank Jolie there? Frank Jolie was there. Yeah, it was awesome. It was so awesome. It's the old school music, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And everybody, and we're not old because you listen to some of the people that were there. They were
Nah.
old, okay?
Nah.
There was this lady, she had one of those scooters, you know, the little scooters, and she had it decked out. It was blinged out her scooter.
Yeah.
She had a leather jacket. She was
Yo,
freestyle out. She must have been 90, okay?
Yeah, that concept.
So you know what? You
bring
don't.
everybody back.
We're gonna stay alive for a long time because this music's gonna keep us going.
Hey, man,
all right?
man, there's some things coming out there, man. You could last to like 120. So you got this research, man. Research. I'm trying to, you know.
Anyway, check out. So just stay tuned for the flyer for Daryl Ruffin Jr. And then we'll let you know what else artists coming really, really soon. So check it out.
I like that magazine.
See you next Thursday. Oh yeah, the magazine. Yes. You'll see that very shortly. Okay, a lot of great things in there too. Supporting all our artists out there. And again, thank you, Krysthal, for being here. She was a great time with her, getting to know her a little bit. And we'll support her. Support that young girl. She's 20 years old. Let's support the new generation. Because we know how long we're going to be here.
Gotta enjoy life day by day.
Enjoy every day. I'll get your last because you have to. So God bless everybody. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Manny. Let's see, catch the wave. Oh, that's what he used to say.
Catch the wave.
Catch the wave. Siempre apóyame a mí. Okay, thank you, Freddie.
Well, man, you
DJ
remember
Punch,
stuff like
Alex
that.
Spicy. Thank you, people. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much and for your support. So we'll see you next Thursday with our next Freestyle Showcase podcast with Lita Hernandez and
Daisy Colón, ya tú sabes, papá.
Bye, and DJ Benny B.
Yes, sir.
Zungo, zungo, zungo.